The story starts with our handsome protagonist, Shen Lang, who is a doctor and a perfect leader. However, his face was accidentally misconfigured and worked hard for half of his life to find a wife. He gets transmigrated to the ancient times with a beautiful face. He wondered if he should work hard in that life or still find a wife. Of course, he chose the latter. He announced that his wife should be the fairest and richest and would only settle for his pretty face. A lot of women with different backgrounds appeared for our protagonist to choose from. What would happen to our protagonist? In a world where looks mattered a lot, if someone was ugly and didn't have money, they weren't allowed to have a family, especially if they were really unattractive. Shen Lang was one such person. He was so ugly that having a family seemed like an impossible dream. However, it wasn't always like this. Initially, Shen Lang was incredibly handsome. Unfortunately, during an experiment with a strong acid, his face turned ugly, a sight so creepy that people were afraid to even look at him. No girl would dare to look at Shen Lang's face for more than a second. For 20 years, he traveled to the most remote and war-torn countries as a highly qualified physician, operating in tents to help people in need. Despite becoming almost a legend around the world, he never gained the favor of women. One day, while operating a medical tent on the front lines, a missile approached, causing panic among the doctors. Everyone ran for their lives except Shen Lang. He oddly saw the situation as a relief. His last thoughts were that if he could start over, he wanted his beautiful face back to seduce pretty women. At that very moment, the rocket hit the tent where Shen Lang was standing and praying. Surprisingly, he opened his eyes, and he found himself in some kind of chamber. He wondered how he ended up there when he should have been torn to shreds, but instead, he seemed to have been transported back in time. He noticed his clothes and went to a nearby mirror. When he saw himself, he was surprised. He smiled because his strange wish had come true. He smirked, feeling like he deserved to have his good-looking face back. Then he felt a headache as memories from the body's previous owner mixed with his own. He realized the person before him was also called Shen Lang. The previous Shen Lang was teased for being weak and foolish. He was amazed at how the old Shen Lang managed to make everyone dislike him despite being good-looking. He also learned that Shen Lang had been in love with a woman named Xu Chanshan for 2 years. She had an illness that could only be cured by marriage, and Shen Lang became her husband easily. After that, everyone mocked Shen Lang, even the servants, but his wife defended him. Although they were married, they didn't act like a couple. Just seeing Xu Chanshan's face every day was enough for him. A month ago, Shen Lang got sick, and the doctors Xu Chanshan brought said it was hopeless. As soon as the other Shen Lang died, our main character took over the body. He was happy to find out he was now the son-in-law of a wealthy family. Suddenly, he overheard people talking outside. They were saying Shen Lang should be dead by now because he brought shame to the Xu family. They even mentioned that Xu Chanshan had faked her illness. They opened Shen Lang's room to check on his lifeless body, but instead they found Shen Lang standing there, looking calm. The servants were shocked. The 2 servants were surprised when they saw Shen Lang. They exclaimed that Shen Lang had survived. Shen Lang realized they had tried to murder him. He then understood that being the Xu family's son-in-law was trouble. He felt something on his mind and discovered a laptop in his consciousness. Shen Lang was surprised to find it was the same as the one he had. He also noticed something strange with his eyes and focused on a nearby dresser. He could clearly see what was inside, like X-ray vision. He wondered if his computer and the X-ray machine had come with him after the explosion. With both of them in his body, Shen Lang tried to combine them. He scanned a nearby vase and could see its detailed information. Finding it interesting, his wife came, and he accidentally scanned her bust size. Xu Chanshan said she was really worried about Shen Lang. Our protagonist was shocked because his wife was very attractive. Xu Chanshan then asked the doctor to check Shen Lang's condition. The doctor checked Shen Lang's pulse and couldn't believe it. He found out that Shen Lang had suddenly become very healthy. Xu Chanshan suddenly got angry because she knew he was seriously ill the other day. She then calmed herself and started crying out of relief, but Shen Lang had already seen her true colors seconds ago. Xu Chanshan then asked the doctor to leave them alone, and she started pretending to cry with joy, expressing her happiness at her spouse's quick recovery. Our protagonist was shocked since his wife was different from the memories of the other Shen Lang. He could clearly see how fake Xu Chanshan was. Xu Chanshan then sighed. She informed Shen Lang that his parents were dead worried and even knelt to them just to see him. Shen Lang was surprised but continued pretending to be an idiot. Xu Chanshan frowned since she just wanted Shen Lang to leave their family. Just then, a man kicked open the door. Zhang Jin, the son of Zhang Chong, was frustrated that Shen Lang couldn't even take a hint. He then sweetly stood beside He told Shen Lang to get out since he was not needed anymore. Shen Lang couldn't believe that he had just speed-run a divorce right after he transmigrated. When Su Chanshan was sick, only an idiot like Shen Lang married her. Now that she had already gotten better, Shen Lang was being discarded. Su Chanshan then sat down on the bed and confessed to Shen Lang that they didn't fit each other. Since he could see that he was being kicked out by the two, Shen Lang started thinking about how to survive outside. He then made up his mind and told the two that he would go home. Zhang Jin then told him to leave in an hour and slammed the door as they exited. Shen Lang then started grinning and immediately checked his face again. He was not a bit worried about getting a wife with his beautiful face. Meanwhile, the cheating couple was still outside talking about their upcoming wedding. They planned to invite the golden Mulan of the Earl of Wanwu. Shen Lang listened to them as they started describing Mulan as powerful, beautiful, and arrogant. Upon hearing that, Shen Lang decided to target Mulan as his wife. Soon after, Shen Lang got kicked out of the Su family residence. Literally, he couldn't believe he was treated like a random servant. However, he was still glad that he had a beautiful face, unlike a servant. A man watched him leave the premises. Su Guangjin, Su Chanshan's father, confirmed that the thing that he had arranged. Su Chanshan warned him not to take action immediately since her reputation was at stake. Su Guangjin claimed that they must do it to please Zhang Jin. Su Chanshan frowned but still followed her father's decision. That night, Shen Lang casually walked back home through the woods. However, he noticed something weird. Just then, some tall men ambushed him and asked Shen Lang to go with them. Shen Lang realized he couldn't take on all of them, so he allowed himself to be captured. Shortly after, he found himself in a place where they planned to bury him alive. The leader instructed the others to burn him before burying him. Examining the memories of the previous Shen Lang, he identified the man as Tian Heng, a well-known underworld lord. Shen Lang understood that his situation was dire. Surprisingly, Tian Heng apologized and explained that he was just following orders for pay. When he noticed Shen Lang's intense gaze, unlike the usual demeanor of a pretty boy, Tian Heng removed Shen Lang's gag and inquired about the reason for the glare. Shen Lang then informed Tian Heng that he would die if the needle inside his body wasn't removed. This revelation startled Tian Heng and left the others confused. Shen Lang claimed he could help, but Tian Heng reminded him that someone wanted him dead. Shen Lang acknowledged this, and Tian Heng, with a smirk, declared that he wouldn't let Shen Lang go. He revealed that Shen Lang's brother had borrowed money and failed to repay it on time with interest. Suddenly, Shen Lang recalled memories from 3 months ago when his father went to the Su family, causing a commotion and getting kicked out. It became clear that his family had borrowed money because of his father's actions. Seeing Shen Lang's worried expression, Tian Heng assured him that he would soon see his family. Shen Lang was surprised, and the image of the other Shen Lang's family flashed in his mind. Deciding to behead Shen Lang instead of burning him, Tian Heng ordered his men to carry out the task. However, Shen Lang exclaimed that he would offer 1,000 gold coins. Everyone stopped and fell silent. Shen Lang promised to provide the money within 10 days. Tian Heng and his men stared at each other with blank faces after listening to Shen Lang. Tian Heng thought about it for some time but told him that he would only give him 3 days. Shen Lang considered the reason and figured out that the Xu family had ordered Tan to murder him within 3 days in exchange for 1,000 gold coins. Shen Lang advised Tian Heng to remain patient, but Tian Heng insisted on reducing the time limit to 3 days. Shen Lang agreed, and Tian Heng told his men to back off. Shen tore a part of his clothes, drew some of his blood, wrote it down, and gave it to Tan's security. He assured him that Tian Heng had his word. Tian Heng's men still mocked Shen Lang and called him stupid. Tian Heng pointed to 2 men as Shen Lang's monitor for the next 3 days. He instructed them to help Shen Lang reach his home safely and stay with him. Tian Heng advised them to murder him if he failed to do so. After that, Shen Lang was allowed to leave along with them. Shen Lang began walking towards home, with the men maintaining their distance and following him. He suddenly stopped for a while and tried to figure out how he could gather 1,000 coins in 3 days, but he had no idea how to do it. Faced with what seemed impossible, he reminded himself to find a way as he needed to protect his family and seek revenge on everyone. The two men standing behind him urged him to be fast and get going. Shen Lang agreed and continued walking toward his home. Shen Lang worried because he hadn't seen his family in 3 months, fearing they might not want to see him again. His family lived in Maple Leaf Village, away from water, and had moved there 10 years ago. Despite the time, they still felt like outsiders. In Shen Lang's hometown, he had living parents and a brother. His father was very sick, coughing up blood, and his brother had an injured leg. All of them missed Shen Lang a lot. His father suggested he visit Hu's family the next day to bring back his son. However, his brother insisted on going to get him. Even though his father attempted to stand, his mother advised against it, knowing he was still unwell. When Shen Lang finally returned home, he overheard the whole conversation while standing at the door. It was embarrassing for him because Hu's family had almost murdered him, yet his own family was willing to face danger to bring him back. Shu's family used to bully Shen Lang, and his family couldn't accept that. Realizing his mistake, Shen Lang understood the love his family had for him. Summoning the courage, he knocked on the door, adhering to tradition, and knelt in front of his family. When he entered, they were more than surprised, but Shen Lang couldn't bring himself to stand still in front of them. His family was in complete shock. His mother cried when she saw her son return. As she hugged him, he apologized for leaving her, but she couldn't be happier. Shen Lang bowed again, expressing regret for his foolish actions. He assured his mother that he wouldn't visit that family anymore. His mother, believing he had become wiser, hugged him once more. Shen Lang also apologized to his father for the hardships he had endured. To their surprise, both his parents were amazed at how much he had matured. The protagonist was astonished at the warm reception of Shen Lang's return. Curious, the brother questioned if Shen Lang had been expelled, and he confirmed with a nod. Relieved, their mother assured him that both his father and brother would support him in everything, even helping him find the desired wife. However, Shen Lang insisted it wasn't necessary, emphasizing that his father's health was the top priority. Placing his hand on his father's forehead, Shen Lang used his X-ray vision to analyze his internal condition. He then thought of a plan to find herbs to cure his father, deciding his intention to do so the next day. Turning to his brother, he asked to see his leg, analyzing the fracture. The brother, willing to go to extremes for him, even mentioned resorting to blackmail by letting himself hit by a carriage to get money. Despite feeling offended by the family's absurdness, Shen Lang then asked his brother how he had the fracture. The brother pointed to it as the fault of the Xu family's guards. The following day, Shen Lang obtained the herbs and treated his father's wounds. This quickly healed him. His mother, father, and brother were all surprised by his skill. His mother excitedly exclaimed that they could save money to open a clinic, and that Shen Lang could marry the village's daughter. Shen Lang was surprised by his mother's excitement. He then excused himself and stepped out of the house for a moment, where he met Tian Heng's men. Despite seeing the family happy, they reminded him that he only had 2 days to save his family. Shen Lang then returned inside, and his mother was ready to wash his feet. Feeling embarrassed, Shen Lang refused since he could do it himself. His mother was shocked and cried that her hands were clean. Shen Lang realized that the other Shen Lang let his mother clean his feet. Soon after, his mother cheerfully washed his feet with warm water. Shen Lang could only smile at the sight of a mother that could only exist in movies. He decided to treat them as his family now and pay back what the other Shen Lang owed them. The following day, as Shen Lang and his family had breakfast, Tian Heng's men knocked on their door. They insisted that Shen Lang needed to make money before the deadline. When Shen Lang's mother inquired about their identity, he referred to them as his friends. One of the gang members cheerfully introduced himself. She invited them to join for breakfast, but the two claimed they had already eaten. Shen Lang explained that he planned to accompany them to the city and wouldn't return until night. One of the gang members agreed, mentioning they could visit his house in the village, so he wouldn't go hungry. Shen Lang's mother, however, was concerned about his well-being. She gave him an egg to eat later on the way to the village. Along the journey, they encountered a father and his son arguing about losing a bet. The gang's subordinates recognized them and demanded the father to pay the debt he owed them. They conveyed that he didn't need to pay anymore and guided them to a bush where they murdered them. Shen Lang asked the subordinates if they really knew the father and son. He revealed that they had known each other for over 10 years. He explained that he murdered them because they owed him 24 gold coins and had lost all their savings the night before. The subordinate told Shen Lang that achieving 1,000 gold coins in 2 days was impossible. He insisted there was no point in delaying the situation, as they could murder him. According to the subordinate, accumulating that amount would take at least 10 years of savings from a normal village, and a poor boy like him couldn't do it in 2 days. However, Shen Lang claimed that he was not normal and exclaimed that he could collect 1,000 gold coins in 3 hours. Shen Lang and Tian Heng's men reached one of the biggest and well-protected cities, which had authority over 25 villages. Specifically, they arrived at the commercial district. In front of a pavilion, Shen Lang stopped and announced his intention to make 1,000 gold coins and seek revenge on the Xu family. The Lin family rivals the Xu family in selling silk fabrics. A Lin family servant comes out to greet them. Shen Lang, standing in front of the pavilion, confidently declared that he had a deal that could let the patriarch earn 5,000 gold coins annually. To take advantage of the servant's trust, one of Tian Heng's men introduced himself and the servant quickly fetched the patriarch. After some persuasion, the servant led them inside, and the patriarch came out to discuss the business proposition Shen Lang had in mind. Like the servant, Shen Lang conveyed that he could provide a way for the patriarch to earn an additional 5,000 gold coins each year. However, he needed an initial investment of 2,000 gold coins to unlock this lucrative opportunity. The patriarch, feeling that his time was being wasted, demanded they be thrown out. Tian Heng's man started feeling mad at Shen Lang for his demand. Refusing to be dismissed so easily, Shen Lang revealed a golden handkerchief to the patriarch. When he saw it, he was amazed. Shen Lang claimed that the Lin family could defeat the Xu family after delivering the gold cloth to the monarch. However, the patriarch couldn't believe that Shen Lang had done it. Shen Lang suggested recreating the fabric and asked Shen Lang to give him an hour, promising that he could recreate the same dye, even improving it. This fabric was special for the king's family, the one that the Xu family sold. After some time in explaining the recipe, Shen Lang presented a new handkerchief to the patriarch of the Lin family, who was astonished. In return, he handed Shen Lang 2,000 gold coins and received the recipe for golden silk cloth. The patriarch of the Lin family was impressed and foresaw that becoming richer than the Xu family was possible. However, their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of the Xu family, led by their patriarch. He exclaimed that Shen Lang had stolen the recipe for their silk cloth. Shen Lang realized that the Xu family's interference had been prompted by the warning from the patriarch of the Lin family. According to the Lin patriarch, he had alerted them because his son had ties to the Xu, and an alliance would benefit them in getting his son into the army. While facing accusations and insults about his ex-wife and ex-father-in-law, Shen Lang pondered how to escape the situation. Despite false allegations, his ex-wife tried to defend him, tearfully seeking mercy from her father. The patriarch of the Xu family, who accused Shen Lang of robbery, called agents to decide on a course of action. In a plea for clemency, Shen Lang's ex-wife asked him to admit to stealing the recipe. Feeling underestimated and annoyed, Shen Lang countered, declaring there was no proof of his theft. The Xu family patriarch dismissed him as incapable, claiming he couldn't create such a formula. In response, Shen Lang proposed a challenge. He asserted that if he could create a better dye than the current one, he should be cleared of all accusations. To the disbelief of his ex-wife, he even pledged to make a purple dye, which was generally considered unattractive in those times. Thus, Shen Lang issued a challenge to the Xu family. His ex-wife had informed him that if he could develop a better dye than her family's, they would drop the charges. Shen Lang, in response, lightly teased the Xu patriarch and confidently declared that the results of the entire test would be evident in 3 hours. He also requested the agents to serve as witnesses. During this time, Shen Lang worked on his formula, promising to create something extraordinary. When night fell, the Xu family showcased their fabric, impressing everyone with their techniques. They presented a book detailing the ingredients to the judges. Accusations that Shen Lang playfully stole the recipe kept piling up. The Xu family patriarch ordered Shen Lang's arrest, and just as the order was given, Shen Lang appeared. To everyone's surprise, he revealed the dye he created, which surpassed the Xu family's fabric's quality. The dye was a vibrant purple that left everyone present impressed and astonished. Even Shen Lang's ex-wife couldn't comprehend how he had suddenly transformed and produced such a powerful result. Shen Lang confirmed his victory by tossing the handkerchief he had crafted and exclaimed that if this proof didn't convince them, he would show them another one. The new handkerchief amazed everyone as it was a colorful rainbow handkerchief. One of the judges asked to inspect it, while Shen Lang's former father-in-law was in shock. The judge analyzed the fabric and was astonished by the masterpiece he held in his hands. Shen Lang then requested the judge to ensure justice. The judge questioned the patriarch of the Xu family if those recipes were also stolen from his family. The man, embarrassed by the defeat, denied that these were his family's recipes and left the place angrily. His daughter asked for forgiveness for everything and was also left with much anger. Shen Lang expressed his gratitude to the judge. It was because of him that Shen Lang dared to challenge the Xu family with the bet. The Lord held a grudge against the Xu family. Shen Lang asked how he and Jin Yulan were faring. 3 years ago, while a group was hunting an injured bear, Shen Lang, who was admiring a flower nearby, was caught in a dangerous situation. Jin Yulan, the daughter of the Earl of Xuanwu, saved him by throwing her spear and nailing the bear's head. Jin Yulan had Shen Lang treated and even personally attended to him. Hoping to be close to her, the judge, Wang Gang, tried to teach Shen Lang personally to gain favor. However, it didn't work out since the previous Shen Lang was an idiot. The judge was angry since Jin Yulan didn't come at all and cut ties with Shen Lang in the end. Before that, Shen Lang kept hearing Wang Gang curse Zhang Jin, the new in-law of the Xu family. Wang Gang couldn't believe Shen Lang just casually said Jin Yulan's name. He left, and our protagonist sensed the rivalry between them. Shen Lang realized that both the Xu and Wang families wouldn't leave him alone now if he made the wrong move. He hoped his next plan would work and left the area. Along the way, Shen Lang encountered his ex-wife, Xu Chanshin, who suggested a job deal for money and fabric recipes. She tried to convince him with flirtation, but Shen Lang ignored her and walked away. Xu Chanshin resorted to a cunning method, claiming he owed her a debt of 1,000 coins. Shen Lang questioned how she knew about the debt, but Xu Chanshin left in her carriage. Tian Heng's man warned Shen Lang that he had until sunset to deliver the coins, or else his family would be in danger. All of this left Shen Lang worried and unsure of how to solve the problem since Tian Heng also told the Xu family about their bet. He realized he had to figure it out that night, as returning to work as a slave in the Xu family was not an option. Looking up to the sky, he swore to end everything once and for all. In one of the city streets, some men on horses entered, escorting someone important. They requested the citizens to make way as Shen Lang walked nearby. Hearing that Jin Yulan was also approaching, Shen Lang pretended to stroll casually into the street. Seizing the moment as the lady passed, he deliberately got in the way, causing a collision with the horse. The lady stopped the men, noticing that Shen Lang was still alive. Although he seemed familiar, she paid little attention and instructed her men to take him to the palace. They were to deal with his fate, as they couldn't risk harming an innocent person. Unbeknownst to everyone, this was all part of Shen Lang's plan. He orchestrated this to secure an audience with the lady and save his family. Despite appearing unconscious, Shen Lang felt the weight on his mind. The next words or actions would determine whether his family lived or died. Soon after, Shen Lang was transported to the Xuanwu Earl's mansion, which was far from the city. When he woke up, he was amazed at how enormous the mansion was. Upon entering, Jin Yulan greeted her parents, who inquired about the performance. She assured them it went well. Yulan's father, however, felt a bit sad that Yulan's younger brother wasn't as heroic as she was. He shared that the situation in the system was changing drastically, putting their family in crisis. Yulan decided to stay and take over the family, declaring that she wouldn't marry anyone. Suddenly, a servant entered and informed Yulan's father that Shen Lang wanted to discuss Jin Yulan's marriage. Jin Zhao remembered him as the young man Jin Yulan's cavalry had run over. He granted permission for Shen Lang to enter. Shen Lang introduced himself to Jin Yulan's father, and Jin Zhao asked him about the matter. Shen Lang then mentioned hearing that the Xu family wanted to propose marriage to Jin Yulan, leaving Jin Yulan and her parents shocked by his words. This Zhu family consisted of other powerful families governing the entire province. Jin Zhao asked Shen Lang how he came across such secret information. Shen Lang explained that he used to be the son-in-law of the Xu family. Once he overheard his ex-wife and her new fiancé discussing this matter. A servant of Jin Zhou later informed him that Shen Lang was expelled from the Xu family due to malicious reasons. Due to these rumors, Jin Zhou found it hard to trust Shen Lang's words. He ordered a servant to verify the reports. Jin Zhou admitted to Shen Lang that he didn't fully trust him, but the information provided was valuable, so he decided to reward him. Despite the unverified report, Shen Lang was pleased to be rewarded immediately. Ambitiously, he knelt and asked to become a servant in their house, with the true intention of winning Jin Yulan's heart. Jin Zhu informed Shen Lang that he would study with his son but wouldn't be as indulgent as his parents. As Shen Lang finished expressing his gratitude, a servant rushed in with alarming news. General Zhu Lin had set up camp nearby and was heading their way. This news shocked both Shen Lang and Jin Zhou. Shen Lang felt the pressure, realizing that his plan to marry young Mulan could be ruined, as she might be married off to the young man from the Zhu family. He needed time to develop his plan. Meanwhile, Jin Zhou found himself in a difficult situation as his military power would be compelled to follow the orders of the Zhu family. The count's wife suggested refusing, but Jin Zhou feared that this might lead to more problems, especially if it was a direct order from the king. Amidst the despair, Jin Mulan unsheathed her knife, ready to destroy her face. Jin Zhou scolded her for such a rash decision, knowing that they would still come after her even if her face was ruined. After discussing it for a while, they agreed that their only way out was for Jin Mulan to marry a different person before the people from the Zhu family arrived. Although Mulan bowed and expressed that she didn't want to marry someone outside her family because her younger brother lacked the strength to support the family, her plea was ignored by Mulan's father. He then quickly wrote a letter and sent a servant to find 5 suitable men for his daughter. Just then, Shen Lang appeared and asked if he could join the competition. He ran toward Jin Mulan and expressed how much he wanted to marry her. Shen Lang's words angered Mulan's father, but his wife managed to calm him down, reminding him that Shen Lang was mentally ill. Despite this, Mulan's father ordered his men to send Shen Lang home with 10 gold coins. Just then, Jin Mulan recalled something. She then called Shen Lang the second fool, leaving our protagonist a bit confused. It turned out that there was an older fool in the village, and they were good friends. When Jin Mulan first met him, he was known by that nickname. Jin Mulan agreed that Shen Lang should join. Though Mulan's father tried to protest, he eventually questioned whether Shen Lang could win and concluded that he was only included out of pity. He ordered Shen Lang to be taken to the 6th studio. Thrilled that Mulan remembered him, Shen Lang prepared himself to compete for the chance to become Jin Mulan's husband. The count's family began selecting a spouse for Mulan. They needed to make the decision quickly to have the wedding in the evening. The first candidate was favored because he and Jin Mulan had known each other for a decade. He was the man who had played the judge in Shen Lang's contest against the Xu family. Jin Mulan asked each candidate one question and left as soon as they gave out their answers. The time has come, and it was our protagonist's turn. Jin Mulan asked again what he could bring for her as her husband. Shen Lang thought of various things he could offer, like giving Jin Mulan a massage to loosen tendons and improving the armory of the Jin family. However, he knew Jin Mulan was not materialistic. In the end, he told her that he would give her freedom, but only if she did not commit adultery. Jin Mulan was shocked by his answer but got upset and left, blushing and insulting Shen Lang. Shen Lang laughed silently and mentioned that he would still secure victory. Damn that villainous face. Soon after, Jin Mulan returned before her parents, and Jin Zhou assumed that it would be from their relative families. However, Jin Mulan announced that she had chosen Shen Lang as her husband. This news upset the count, who couldn't understand Jin Mulan's decision. She explained that the other men would take over the family once Jin Zhou died, and Jin Mulan and her brother would be neglected afterward. Her mother cried for her daughter's reasoning, and her father remained silent but angry. Jin Mulan pleaded that only Shen Lang gave her the correct answer, and her mother reminded her about Shen Lang's reputation. Jin Mulan explained the benefits of having Shen Lang as her husband, suggesting that the Zhu family would lose interest in her when dealing with someone like him. The count, annoyed in seeing his daughter suffer, hit the wall and demanded his son's presence. Jin Mulan continued begging while on the floor. The count had asked his servant to bring him a whip. Together with his wife, they went to their son to teach him a lesson. Meanwhile, a guard told Shen Lang that he would take him to a guest room, confirming Shen Lang as the winner of the contest. Shen Lang finally had a chance to get revenge on the Xu family, Lin family, and Tian Heng. He asked the guard to find his parents quickly as they were in danger of murder. The guard was shocked to learn that Shen Lang's family was threatened despite him being the Earl's son-in-law. Because of his new status, he reassured Shen Lang and promised to protect his family. In a tavern, Tian Heng gave the order to go after them and murder Shen Lang if he resisted. Everyone in Xwanwu was in a frenzy that night. Some accepted wedding invitations from the Earl, while the bandits were out to murder Shen Lang and his family. However, they were unaware that Shen Lang was going to be married to Jin Mulan. Soon after, the bandits arrived at Shen Lang's family house. They forcefully destroyed the door, but to their surprise, Shen Lang's family members were armed and ready to fight to the death. When Shen Lang's family was about to be murdered, The bandit captain felt something behind and discovered the guard from the Earl's mansion emitting a threatening aura. The bandit captain then mentioned that Shen Lang's family had committed tax evasion. The guard stated that his master requested the Shen family's presence at a wedding. The bandit asked for his identity, and the guard introduced himself as Jin Zhang. The robber recognized him but wondered why the Earl was inviting Shen Lang's family. He had no choice but to agree to let Jin Zhang take them. Jin Zhang then ordered his men to take Shen Lang's parents in carriages. Afterward, Jin Zhang said goodbye to the bandits. The captain of the bandits nearly fainted after Jin Zhang left. His companions asked him what was wrong, and he explained who Jin Zhang was. He revealed that because Shen Lang had a strong connection with the Jin family, it could be the end for him and everyone there. They decided to inform Tian Heng. The bandit captain was now planning to make his escape from this situation. Upon reaching the gang's hideout, the bandit captain found Tian Heng in the middle of exercising and told him everything that had happened, frightening the boss. Upset, he told the woman he was with to leave. After considering the situation, both of them assumed that Shen Lang would become the son-in-law of the Jin family. To plan for this, he went to the homes of the Xu and Lin families, sharing his assumptions. Even though everyone found it hard to believe, they decided to prepare for any ideas Shen Lang might have. When the wedding day arrived, there was much speculation and a grand celebration. Jin Ju and his wife appeared, and so as the carriage of the groom. Despite wearing a mask, Shen Lang surprised those who had betrayed him when they saw him step out of the carriage. The Lin family patriarch knew he would be out of business since he betrayed Shen Lang. Shen Lang continued to walk forward and met his beautiful wife on the stairs. The wedding ceremony continued. The married couple gave respect to their parents and each other. Just as it was about to conclude, the city lord Liu Wuyan appeared and requested to see the face of Jin Yulan's husband. At that time, General Zhu Lin arrived, surprising everyone and prompting instant respect from the crowd. He wanted to see the man worthy of marrying his niece, Jin Yulan. Guests also asked to reveal the man's face. Jin Yulan and Shen Lang looked at each other and agreed to the request. To everyone's surprise, it was Shen Lang. Even his ex-wife, Xu Chanshan, couldn't understand why a prestigious family would choose him as their son-in-law. Zhang Jin, Xu Chanshan's new fiancée, laughed and accused Jin Yulan's wedding of being fake. She couldn't believe that Jin Yulan would want to marry such a wasteful man. Other guests joined in, making accusations against our main character. Jin Zhou requested proof of Shen Lang's lack of intelligence, and a fellow student, a top student, claimed that Shen Lang had a low IQ and was an idiot. Shen Lang recognized his ex-classmate and realized he was trying to impress the Zhang family. Knowing that Shen Lang didn't understand characters despite studying for a decade, he was challenged by someone. The challenger claimed to write a few words and asked Shen Lang to read them. Quickly, he grabbed paper and a brush and wrote 3 supposedly simple words. However, most guests couldn't read these words. The former classmate urged Shen Lang to give up. Shen Lang utilized the computer skills he possessed in his mind and successfully deciphered the words, impressing his former classmate and everyone else. To confirm his correctness, they consulted a literary teacher, who was the former city lord, about the pronunciation. The teacher affirmed that Shen Lang had pronounced everything perfectly. Encouraged, Shen Lang decided to test his former classmate's skills. He wrote a long text with unfamiliar words and challenged him to recognize 4 of them. Unfortunately, the former classmate could only identify 3 words, leading him to exclaim loudly, "I'm an idiot." The situation made everyone in the room laugh and embarrassed the guy who had just spoken. Even Jin Yulan, known for being composed, couldn't help but laugh. Then the literary teacher and former city head kicked him out and asked if Shen Lang wanted to know a word that even his students couldn't decipher. Shen Lang accepted the challenge. The teacher wrote a word that left everyone amazed because they couldn't recognize it. However, Shen Lang knew it was the symbol for the Japanese currency yen. Shen Lang then asked if perhaps they didn't know the pronunciation of the word and only understood its meaning based on the context he read. Shen Lang revealed that he knew the pronunciation of the word. His former classmate exclaimed that someone like Shen Lang couldn't know that word, challenging each other to a bet. If either of them lost, they agreed to hit the other. When Shen Lang gave the meaning of the word, the teacher was surprised, but the other guy tried to make fun, claiming that Shen Lang was making it up. The teacher was shocked to hear what Shen Lang had just said. His student had tried to flatter him, but the ex-city lord couldn't help feeling sorry for the student. Eventually, he agreed with Shen Lang, allowing him to win the bet. This surprised everyone, including Jin Mulan. Shen Lang had cleverly made his former classmate slap himself. All the guests were amazed at how smart Shen Lang was for recognizing such a small detail. Papa Jin looked extremely proud. He then instructed Shen Lang to greet his parents with Jin Mulan. Just before they left, General Zhu Lin acknowledged Shen Lang as a good man. Shen Lang calmly expressed gratitude, and the general burst into laughter. The Count granted permission for Shen Lang and Jin Mulan to visit his parents. Shen Lang gracefully slid to the floor and greeted his parents. Without hesitation, Jin Mulan did the same, greeting her in-laws. Shen Lang was impressed by Jin Mulan's grace and beauty. Jin Mulan gave them time to talk and arranged for them to have dinner together. As they left, Shen Lang's brother wished him luck. Soon after, Shen Lang waited in the bridal chambers and Mulan entered. Both felt embarrassed, knowing what was about to happen in the room. Shen Lang still couldn't believe he had married such a beautiful woman. Jin Mulan found Shen Lang to be different from the rumors. Shen Lang explained that his time in the Esud family, where he was ill, changed his perspective. Although it wasn't customary, Mulan told Shen Lang that she couldn't consummate their marriage that night. She was focused on taking care of her family. Shen Lang assured her it was okay. But to avoid making him feel bad, Mulan left her maid, Xiao Bing, to spend the night with him. Shen Lang recognizes Xiao Bing's beauty. Jin Mulan suggested it would be better for him to have a child to make his family happy. After a moment of silence, he played along with Mulan and asked Xiao Bing to undress. Feeling a bit embarrassed, Mulan left the room. However, Xiao Bing started crying and apologized. Shen Lang realized she didn't want to do it and felt sad that no one liked him. He then told Xiao Bing to sleep in the next room, and she left without hesitation. Despite being handsome, Shen Lang couldn't hold a woman and fell asleep. The next morning, Mulan apologized for not being able to accompany him to her parents' house due to her duties. She asked about his future goals, and Shen Lang simply expressed a desire for revenge against the Xu family, especially his ex-wife. Mulan, terrified by her husband's words, ate her breakfast in confusion. She told Shen Lang that revenge might lead to conflict, similar to how he couldn't murder his ex-wife's new husband due to conflicts with the city lord. Shen Lang complained about being unable to do anything for revenge and asked if he could at least declare himself as the Earl's son-in-law, getting no objection. He ran off to fulfill his revenge, surprising Mulan that his desire for revenge outweighed his interest in talking to her. Shen Lang had met his in-laws and told them he was planning to visit his family, concealing the true intention of seeking revenge on Tian Heng and the man who had taken his ex-wife. The Count granted permission for him to leave and advised him to bring 2 gifts. The Count and Countess were pleasantly surprised to find that Shen Lang was quite different from the rumors. When Shen Lang departed, he requested a carriage for transportation, but to his surprise, they provided him with a splendid horse instead. This turned out to be a bit of a disaster, as he struggled to ride the horse, falling off repeatedly. This caused embarrassment and left an impression on the faces of the accompanying soldiers. Eventually, they switched to a carriage, reaching the base of Tian Heng. At the entrance, guards threatened to shoot, but recognition by one of them as a member of the Count's militia prevented any harm. Tian Heng was informed, and he came out with a feigned attitude, although he was secretly annoyed that Shen Lang's revenge was sought so soon. Despite the tension, Tian Heng invited Shen Lang inside the fortress to have tea. Once inside, Shen brought up the topic of 1,000-coin debt, prompting the boss to pretend indifference. To emphasize this, the boss burned the piece of cloth that held the promise, adding to the complexity of the situation. As the cloth burned, Tian Heng insisted he had forgotten the debt, but Shen Lang contradicted him. Shen Lang claimed that Tian Heng was the one who owed him 1,000 coins, and with the only evidence burning away, people might think he had come to extort the gang boss. Although the gang boss pretended to be calm, he became furious. Despite his annoyance, he ordered his men to bring out the money. Reluctantly, Tian Heng handed over 1,000 gold coins to Shen Lang. Our main character then suggested that Tian Heng forget about the interest, emphasizing their close acquaintance. The boss, still irritated, begrudgingly gave him an extra 100 gold coins and inquired if there were any other requests. Seizing the opportunity, Shen Lang asked for the person who had raided his parents' house under the guise of an arrest. When Tian Heng heard that Shen Lang wanted to harm the person, he couldn't help but get angry. Tian Heng defended the person, claiming they were out for work. Shen Lang demanded that Tian Heng present the person soon and leave. In his anger, Tian Heng ordered someone to burn the chair Shen Lang had sat on. Tian Shizhen appeared, and Tian Heng instructed him to stay hidden for the next few days. Suddenly, Shen Lang reappeared, impressed that Tian Shizhen had completed his task. Shen Lang had declared his intention to break Tian Shizhen's legs in retaliation for the threat Tian Shizhen posed to his family. Shen Lang reminded the boss of the promise that had been made to break Tian Shizhen's legs upon his return. Tian Heng, considering Tian Shizhen as his son and having allied with the Zhangs, confronted Shen Lang without fear of the Earl. Furious, Tian Heng shattered a table with a powerful blow, urging Shen Lang to stop bullying people. Shen Lang retorted that he was merely reciprocating the mistreatment he had endured. The boss, infuriated, asserted that as he worked for the city count, only the count could administer justice. He warned Shen Lang that any harm done to him would require an answer to the count. Expressing a desire for friendship, the boss refused Shen Lang's request to break Tian Shizhen's legs. He even challenged Shen Lang and his soldiers, cautioning that such actions could disrupt the peace and harmony of their community. Undeterred, Shen Lang announced his departure to visit his parents, vowing to return the next day and obediently carry out orders. The boss mocked Shen Lang, suggesting he go with the flow. Upon arriving at his parents' house, Shen Lang's mother anxiously inquired about his treatment at the mansion. Shen Lang assured her that everyone was kind and presented gifts to his family. He gave medicine to his injured brother and money to his father for a decent house, which the father hesitated to accept since the money might have come from the Earl's family. But Shen Lang clarified that the money came from selling his dyed fabrics. Shen Lang promised to assist his brother once he recovered, although the brother expressed the desire to marry a widow upon his recovery. In the afternoon, as Shen Lang left, his mother told him that his lifelong best friend, Da She, was in a serious condition. Shen Lang recalled that despite having a low IQ, his friend had a huge heart. Since childhood, he has faced painful experiences, including being abandoned, teased, and treated poorly by his stepmother. Upon reaching his friend's house, Shen Lang found that the stepmother had forgotten his friend's importance and was close to mistreating him. Shen Lang inquired about his friend, only to learn that he had gone to work. Shen Lang decided to search for him, leaving a generous sum of money for his friend's stepmother to ensure better treatment. However, the stepbrother suggested that the friend might be left to suffer in the mountains. Determined, Shen Lang went out to find his friend. Night comes and they discover Dasha in a critical condition. Dasha woke up and recognized Shen Lang. Dasha explained that the wounds were from saving his brother from a wild animal. Since they didn't have money for treatment, they left Dasha to die in the mountains. Angry and moved by nostalgia, Shen Lang vowed to make those who mistreated his friend pay. He asked Dasha how long he had been abandoned, to which Dasha, in his way, conveyed it was more than 5 days without proper care. While accepting his death, Dasha was glad that Shen Lang had become powerful so no one could bully him. Shen Lang then claimed he was still being bullied. Upon hearing that, Dasha was enraged like the Hulk and covered Shen Lang while claiming that he would protect his best friend. Realizing that his friend was on the brink of death, Shen Lang was touched by the friend's determination to protect him. In tears, he reassured his friend that he was okay. With the help of Shen Lang's guards, he attempted to carry his friend. Filled with anger, Shen Lang exclaimed that he wouldn't let his friend die like this. He vowed to make his father recognize how capable his son was. Dasha expressed his desire to prove to his father that he could help take care of him in old age. Taking Dasha in a carriage, they reached Dasha's house. There, Shen Lang complained to his family about their cruelty. His stepmother justified their actions, stating that mountain people, being poor, couldn't afford to care for him. Dasha's stepbrother mocked Shen Lang, leading to Shen Lang's frustration. He overturned the table with all the food when the stepbrother tried to complain. Shen Lang kicked him, intending to make him sterile. In pain, the stepbrother writhed on the ground. Dasha's stepmother, angry and frustrated, insulted Shen Lang, calling him a waste and garbage. Shen Lang, not wanting to harm women, asked her to leave, pushing her away when she persisted. The stepmother threatened to sue the Su family, but Shen Lang, having severed ties with them, told her that he was now the son-in-law of the Earl. He told Dasha's stepmother to tell her husband to look for him in the Earl's mansion and left. Unbothered, Shen Lang proceeded to the mansion, where he encountered the head of the mansion's guard, a candidate for the family's son-in-law. Shen Lang asked about the situation, and they explained that it was a routine check. During this inspection, they discovered Dasha inside the carriage, prompting the guard to scold Shen Lang for audaciously bringing someone to the mansion. He ordered Shen Lang out of the carriage, but Shen Lang insisted on being allowed into the mansion with Dasha and ordered the guards to bring him inside. Unfortunately, his orders fell on deaf ears. Shen Lang then tried to force his way inside by driving the carriage. Just then, Jin Mulan and Jin Ju arrived, asking about the situation. Shen Lang explained that his friend was dying. Both of them decided to assist Shen Lang. The father-in-law summoned the mansion's doctor, and Jin Mulan volunteered to guide the carriage. She had apologized to Shen Lang for the disturbance caused by the guards, which impressed and calmed him since he initially felt lonely in the mansion. However, the head guard stepped in, scolding Jin Mulan for breaking the rules. In response, she took a whip and told the guard to turn around, scaring him away. When he turned, she used the whip to punish him, justifying her actions by emphasizing that she wouldn't tolerate disrespect towards her husband and was determined to correct the guard's attitude. As time passed, the doctor assessed Dasha's wounds, deeming them challenging to treat. Shen Lang couldn't help but question the doctor's abilities, wondering if he was truly better than him. At that moment, Mulan asked if he could treat Dasha. The doctor responded positively but mentioned it would be complicated and expensive. So when he left to get the medicine, Jin Mulan assured Shen Lang that his best friend would recover. Shen Lang explained that they were like brothers, a sentiment Jin Mulan clearly remembered as the two idiots. Shortly after, Mulan's father-in-law arrived and suggested they talk in the study. Once there, Shen Lang's father-in-law scolded him. Shen Lang assumed it was about bringing his friend and tried to explain. However, his father-in-law accused him of blackmailing Tianheng and ordering harm to his adopted son. On his knees, Shen Lang thanked his father-in-law for saving his family and friend. He revealed the mistreatment he suffered from the Exu family after being expelled. Hearing the story, Shen Lang's father-in-law angrily vowed to seek justice against the Exu family. He instructed Shen Lang not to go out for a few days, assuring him that he would handle the situation. Shen Lang, refusing to stay idle, was given a book containing the family codes to memorize before he could go out. Jin Ju then claimed that it took him a month, and Jin Mulan took 23 days, but he decided to memorize it all in an hour using his scanner with a wicked smile. To avoid upsetting his father-in-law, Shen Lang planned to inform Jin Ju the next day. In the meantime, there was a bet in his in-law's bedroom about how long it would take him to memorize. The same night, the Countess couldn't believe Jin Ju already scolded their son-in-law. Jin Ju assumed that it would take Shen Lang 3 months to memorize everything. The Countess bet that Shen Lang could do it within a month. Being weak in front of his wife, Jin Ju agreed, and they cuddled the whole night. The next morning, Shen Lang's mother-in-law attempted to help him by making soup to nourish his brain, but the guard informed her that Shen Lang had gone to bed early the previous. This angered his mother-in-law since she assumed that she would lose the bet. The next morning, Shen Lang strolled around the mansion. His father-in-law scolded him for being lazy and going to bed early instead of studying. Shen Lang assured him that he had already memorized the entire family code. However, his father-in-law doubted him, as it had taken Shen Lang over a month, while Jin Mulan, a prodigy, had done it in 23 days. When Shen Lang claimed to have memorized everything in one night, his father-in-law thought he was just fooling around. To make his point, the father-in-law ordered a guard to bring a whip, intending to enforce the family rules. Shen Lang became scared, worrying that his father-in-law might go to extremes. However, his mother-in-law stepped in, urging her husband to give Shen Lang a chance to apologize. Shen Lang refused, insisting that he had already memorized everything and even proposed a test. This annoyed his father-in-law, who was considering a second chance. The test began with Shen Lang reciting chapters of the code. To everyone's surprise, he recited letter by letter, leaving his father-in-law puzzled. He continued reciting the remaining chapters, and the Countess was pleased. Jin Zhou was confused as Shen Lang answered everything correctly and then casually dropped the book. Shen Lang's in-laws had different reactions to the situation. The Countess reminded her husband about the bet and left, requesting a whip to punish her son who couldn't memorize the same thing. When Jin Zhou was alone with Shen Lang, he asked how Shen Lang pulled off his incredible feat. At first, Shen Lang spoke gibberish, but under pressure, he started revealing some of the truth. He shared that after he died and came back to life at the Exu's house, his mind gained the extraordinary ability to remember everything. Shen Lang's father-in-law thought it was a kind of divine enlightenment. He told a story about a person who went through a similar experience, someone who was once nobody but turned into a martial arts master, building a prosperous life for his family and protecting a large territory. Shen Lang wondered if that person was also a time traveler like him. Then he reminded Jin Zhou about their bet, and his father-in-law allowed him to go out. As Shen Lang attempted to leave at the speed of light, he was advised not to seek revenge on Tianheng for the time being. Jin Zhao warned him about a potential change in the system that could strip him of his thief status. To ensure his family's safety, Shen Lang's father-in-law promised to take matters into his own hands within 6 months. Shen Lang expressed gratitude but insisted that it was a matter of personal honor he needed to resolve on his own. He also assured that, as the powerful Earl's son-in-law, no one could harm him. However, his father-in-law cautioned him about confronting the chief of the city guard, as their family had no authority in the city. Despite this, he assured Shen Lang that he wouldn't allow any harm to come to their family. Shen Lang promised to defeat the chief within legal bounds, ensuring no loose ends. With the approval of his father-in-law, Shen Lang embarked on a mission to challenge Tianheng. His strategy was to exploit Tianheng's heavy reliance on casinos for income. Shen Lang aimed to defeat him repeatedly until the chief was left bankrupt. As he entered the city, citizens whispered and warned him about the dire consequences of entering a casino. Despite a guard feeling the need to stop him, another guard insisted that they couldn't interfere with Shen Lang's decision. Upon entering the casino, Shen Lang surprised another adopted son of Tianheng. The young man was impressed to see Shen Lang venture into the lion's den. He quickly offered Shen Lang a seat and asked about the purpose of his visit. Shen Lang expressed his intention to play but admitted he currently had no money. He requested a loan from the man, who willingly agreed, planning to lend him a huge amount. The man's real intention, however, was to let Shen Lang lose and then use the debt as an excuse to harm him. Shen Lang asked for an interest of 1,000 coins, which equaled 10% of the annual loan. He also requested a promissory note for the 1,000 coins. Once the loan terms were settled, Shen Lang exchanged the coins for chips and suggested starting with a simple game of chance involving dice, where they would guess if the number that would appear was big or small. The betting began, and the dealer placed the cup with the dice on the table. Excitement filled the air as Shen Lang surprised everyone by placing a large bet. The crowd was even more excited when he won 1,000 gold coins on his first try. Despite losing the round, the man acknowledged his loss but challenged Shen Lang to experience winning a bet only to lose it all. Throwing the dice again, Shen Lang went all in, putting everything on the line. The spectators were shocked as he won 2,000 gold coins this time. While the onlookers were impressed, the man began to look worried. The stakes were getting higher, and the man was concerned about the significant losses of the casino. If he didn't turn things around, he would face the largest losses in years. Adding to his anxiety was the fear of his father's wrath for losing so much, especially to a family enemy like Shen Lang. Even the dealer was visibly nervous, breaking into a cold sweat. Continuing with the gamble, the dealer had asked Shen Lang whether he would bet small or big. Shen Lang grabbed the cup holding the dice, expressing his boredom with the game's reliance solely on luck. He suggested switching to Pai Gao instead. This surprised 19, who had assumed Shen Lang would quit. However, Shen Lang wanted to keep playing, this time with cards. While the previous game had been all about luck, 19 felt confident about his chances this time. He agreed to Shen Lang's suggestion and instructed his staff to set up the game quickly. In this new game, 32 cards were laid out, and each player drew 2 cards. The winner was determined by the total value of the cards drawn. Unlike the previous game, this one involved more strategy and could include tricks like identifying marks on the back of the cards. 19 had relied on such tactics to become the top gambling master in Xiaowanmu City. Cards were placed on the table, and 19 was determined to make Shen Lang lose so much money that he would be thrown out of the Earl's mansion. As 19 began to draw cards, Shen Lang expressed his distrust in the deck and suggested getting a new one, promising to inspect it thoroughly. This revelation made 19 realize that Shen Lang was onto the marks. Disappointed, Shen Lang attempted to leave, which flustered 19. He promptly instructed one of his men to purchase a new set of cards from an unaffiliated store. Once the new cards arrived, Shen Lang used his superpower to inspect them. 19 then asked which set they should use, and Shen Lang randomly selected one, deeming everything satisfactory. The game commenced, with Shen Lang instructing 19 to take the first turn. 19 confidently selected his cards, and Shen Lang used his superpower to check the numbers. To Shen Lang's surprise, 19 managed to pull off one of the best combinations with his 2 cards. 19 boldly bet 100 gold coins. Shen Lang, undeterred, decided to aim for a better combination with his 5th pull. The cards got flipped, and 19 felt a jolt of surprise. Everybody shared the same shock when they saw Shen Lang's hand trumping 19's. This fueled 19's anger, leaving him to wonder about Shen Lang's unexpected improvement. He burst out, convinced that Shen Lang's winning streak wasn't just luck. Confident in his own abilities, 19 challenged Shen Lang to another round, wagering 1,000 gold coins. Shen Lang matched the bet without hesitation. 19 believed he could turn the tables and win back what he lost. The sudden increase in stakes sparked excitement among the onlookers. But what followed was a nightmare for 19. Round after round, Shen Lang effortlessly triumphed without even glancing at his cards. The crowd erupted with cheers, declaring Shen Lang as the new king of gambling in the city. 19 sweated nervously as he puzzled over the present circumstances. He couldn't fathom Shen Lang's incredible luck. Losing over 10,000 coins to someone who had nothing just days ago seemed unfathomable. He dreaded the thought of facing his adoptive father's wrath. With a heavy heart, he rose from his seat, feigning illness as an excuse to leave. Shen Lang's disappointment was palpable. He hadn't had his fill of gambling yet. Desperate to escape the mounting tension, 19 hastily departed, leaving behind the cheers of the crowd in the gambling house, knowing that his luck had run out. Meanwhile, 19's adoptive father was talking to a friend about Shen Lang's threats toward his son. Shu advised him to just let Shen Lang have his fantasies. Although Tianheng was okay with it, he mentioned that things were supposed to change eventually. Shu thought Shen Lang was just getting carried away, and Tianheng didn't mind because he knew Shen Lang would be expelled from Zhuzhen if he lost over 10,000 coins. The two men chuckled at the idea of Shen Lang failing miserably. Suddenly, 19 burst in, searching for his father. The adoptive father, irritated, wondered what 19 was getting into this time. 19 quickly kneeled and apologized for losing his money. His father asked how much it was, hoping it wasn't anywhere near 10,000. 19 began to sweat as the amount he lost was substantial, and it would have a significant impact on the Earl's estate. Due to new regulations, the Earl's land had been reduced, although it could still sustain a small army of nearly 3,000 people. Since the Earl cared deeply for his subjects, he refused to oppress them, but this meant that the finances of the Earl's estate were stretched thin. 19 couldn't bring himself to confess to his father that he had lost more than 10,000 to Shen Lang. Kedu had been pondering what to do if the Earl's mansion refused to take responsibility for Shen Lang's actions. Tianheng then asserted that Shen Lang had approached them for money entirely of his own volition, without any coercion. Even if they were to face a lawsuit, he assured Xu that they had a defense. Chu fretted that Tianheng might have offended the Earl with his words. Tianheng, however, confidently declared that they had the support of the city lord, the prefect's mansion, and numerous others, asserting that a long-standing military family like the Earl's couldn't retaliate. Su felt relieved by Tianheng's confidence and inquired if they should proceed with their plans. He reminded Tianheng that Shen Lang was a vulnerable spot for the Earl's mansion. Tianheng decided to obtain the agreement paper with Shen Lang and demand the money from the Earl's mansion, eagerly anticipating causing trouble for both the Earl and Shen Lang. Suddenly, 19 mentioned the sum of 16,000 gold coins. This prompted Tianheng to burst into laughter, praising his son's wit. The other man chuckled, foreseeing Shen Lang's downfall due to his foolishness. However, their amusement only intensified 19's nervousness. Tianheng enthusiastically urged his son to retrieve the agreement so they could confront the Earl. 19 then confessed that it wasn't Shen Lang who had lost the money, but rather themselves. The room fell into stunned silence. Furious, Tianheng grabbed his son and demanded an explanation. 19 admitted that Shen Lang had won 16,000 gold coins. Tian was stunned, as this was the yearly profit of the gambling house, which was supposed to be highly profitable. He was even more surprised that his usually astute son had lost in gambling. He then inquired if Shen Lang had cheated. 19 couldn't come up with an excuse, and his father threw him to the floor. Tianheng questioned Xu about Shen Lang, who was regarded as worthless. Suddenly, Shen Lang's former wife appeared and urged them to stay calm, suggesting they investigate the situation. Tianheng walked away, reminding 19 of his punishment. They quickly rode their horses back and soon found a crowd gathered outside the gambling house. Tianheng wondered what was going on. Tianheng had been shocked upon learning that the gambling house had lost 26,000 gold coins, nearly half of his personal savings. It dawned on him that he was on the verge of being broke. His frustration peaked upon realizing that Shen Lang had triumphed over the other gamblers, catching him completely off guard. He pondered whether he should accuse Shen Lang of cheating. However, Shen Lang, currently the son-in-law of an earl, seemed untouchable. With the backing of hundreds of gamblers, Shen Lang then unveiled his bag of winnings and requested Tian Hang to exchange them for cash. Tian Hang dismounted from his horse and put on a professional smile as he proposed they discuss matters first. Shen Lang readily agreed, causing unease among the other gamblers. They all urged Tian Hang to distribute their winnings before departing with Shen Lang. Shen Lang reassured the gamblers to trust him. Their departure was met with cheers from everyone present. Later, Shen Lang was escorted to a different location, prompting Tian Hang to speculate whether Shen Lang had resorted to cheating in order to secure his victory, thus putting Tian Hang in a difficult situation. He pondered whether Shen Lang was unconcerned about the potential damage to the Earl's reputation. As they watched the sunset, Shen Lang expressed that this aspect was crucial to him, but he emphasized that he was simply being true to himself as Shen Lang. He conveyed that fame was a burden he didn't desire, and whether his reputation was good or bad, it would ultimately lead to his downfall. Tian Hang then brought up the incident involving his son's broken leg, expressing his anger and questioning if the money Shen Lang won from gambling was worth the harm inflicted on his own child. He was frustrated by the prospect of being perceived as weak after losing to someone he considered inferior like Shen Lang, which would only further tarnish his reputation. Shen Lang responded calmly, assuring Tian Hang that he had no intention of using his winnings to cause harm to his son. Tian Hang realized that Shen Lang's sole motive was money and decided to make him plead for it. Shen Lang corrected Tian Hang, asserting that he not only wanted the money in full but also desired to witness the injury. This statement enraged Tian Hang even further. Tian Hang was angry. He stomped his foot hard, trying to intimidate Shen Lang. The Earl's soldiers quickly surrounded Shen Lang, protecting him. Tian Hang glared, unable to believe he had been dealing with a madman all along. He told Shen Lang that he could forget about breaking his son's leg or receiving the 19,000 gold coins. He even pointed out how shameless Shen Lang was for setting foot in a gambling house, something no one from the Earl's family had ever done. Tian Hang said it would be pointless to ask the Earl for help in getting the money. He then opened the window and announced to all the gamblers to come and collect their winnings. The crowd cheered for Tian Hang as they finally got what they wanted. Tian Hang noted that the gamblers had already forgotten about Shen Lang and would likely return to the gambling house to spend their money. He knew he would recoup the damages within a month. He claimed that no one would support Shen Lang anymore, and he wouldn't receive his 19,000 gold coins. He reiterated that breaking his son's leg would remain a mere dream. Shen Lang had begun applauding and complimented Tian Hang's speech. Yet he pointed out there were still other gambling spots where Tian Hang could make money with the other bettors. He suggested Tian Hang could either shut those places down or risk going broke. Shen Lang confidently declared that nobody could prevent him from entering those gambling spots. Moving to the window, Shen Lang announced to the crowd outside that they would drain Tian Hang's funds. Hearing this, the crowd decided not to exchange all their chips to keep gambling and hailed Shen Lang as their hero. Shen Lang then instructed Tian Hang to end their conversation as he intended to keep on betting. Shen Lang had ventured into the gambling houses and racked up numerous wins, much to the delight of the hundreds of other gamblers. The excitement among them was palpable, finding it much easier than simply picking up money off the street. The employees were baffled, watching as they continuously lost to Shen Lang and the other players. News of the substantial losses in their gambling establishments soon reached Tian Hang's ears. Shen Lang himself only staked 1 gold coin each time, with the rest being claimed by his fellow gamblers. This understandably angered Tian Hang. Witnessing his father's frustration, 16 decided to take matters into his own hands and confront Shen Lang. Descending the stairs, he boldly threatened to expel Shen Lang if he didn't cease his winning streak. Shen Lang, however, simply sighed and remarked that he was too good-looking to be attacked, reminding 16 of his connection to the Earl's family. This only served to further infuriate 16. Shen Lang then pondered aloud whether they would dare to challenge the Earl. Suddenly, his guards surrounded him, but what truly surprised everyone was when the gamblers themselves stepped up to shield Shen Lang. Their loyalty to him was evident, and 16 was astonished at how easily they had switched sides. Tian Hang approached and announced that the gambling house would close for the day. He asked the gamblers to return the next day to collect their winnings. Naturally, the gamblers were reluctant to leave without their gold coins. Shen Lang reassured them, suggesting they could try their luck at other gambling houses. Everyone agreed and cheered for Shen Lang. Tian Hang regretted not eliminating Shen Lang earlier. He instructed his son to shut down the remaining gambling houses. Tian Hang watched as his gambling house emptied out and angrily grabbed nearby chips. He warned Shen Lang that his downfall was just wishful thinking. The gambling houses were Tian Heng's gang's main moneymakers, and shutting them down meant losing out on a lot of cash. Tian Heng refused to budge, even when dealing with Shen Lang. Surprisingly, the real trouble didn't come from Shen Lang. Patriarch had summoned Tian Heng, who walked into Xu's office wondering what the old man wanted. Xu had heard about the gambling houses shutting down, and Tian Heng confirmed it. 35% of the gambling profits would always go to the Zhang family for protection. With the houses closed, the Zhang family wasn't pleased, foreseeing potential issues. Xu asked why Tian Heng shut them down, and he explained it was to prevent even bigger losses. Xu questioned if Shen Lang was that skilled at gambling. Tian Heng confirmed, but he wasn't sure why. Xu then blamed Tian Heng for everything, leaving the gang leader frustrated. He asked if he should just eliminate Shen Lang. Xu reminded him that Shen Lang was always protected by the Earl's soldiers. Even if Tian Heng succeeded against them, the Earl wouldn't let it slide. Tian Heng felt lost, unsure of his next move. Xu had then inquired about Shen Lang's demands, to which Tian Heng confirmed that Shen Lang had wanted to publicly break his son's legs. Xu had advised him to comply, considering he had other sons to rely on eventually. This had enraged Tian Heng, who had vehemently declared that all his sons were precious to him. Xu had been intimidated by this. Suddenly, a voice of an old man had intervened, urging Tian Heng to adhere to Shen Lang's demands. Tian Heng had been taken aback to realize that Zhang Jin had been eavesdropping. Zhang Jin had urged him not to procrastinate and had sworn to eliminate Shen Lang in the future when the opportunity arose, as Shen Lang was merely a minor figure in their overarching plan to acquire the Earl's mansion. Tian Heng had clenched his fists tightly and gritted his teeth so hard that blood had trickled out. Zhang Jin had promised to bestow upon Tian Heng the position of Deputy Lord if they succeeded in their objectives. Tian Heng had been left with no choice but to heed the old man's instructions. Shortly after, Tian Heng complied with Shen Lang's request. Shen Lang then claimed he had changed his mind about something else. This made Tian Heng very angry. He said another one of Tian Heng's sons had threatened him and wanted to break his legs. He also wanted the other gang members to break into his house earlier to break their legs too. Tian Heng had had enough and decided to murder Shen Lang himself. He grabbed the frail-looking Shen Lang with his large and rough hands and lifted him up. The guards told him to stop, but he kept trying to crush Shen Lang's skull with his hand. Then he began pulling Shen Lang apart as if he were a fragile wooden stick. Despite the guards' orders to stop, Tian Heng snapped Shen Lang's back in half. The scene turned gruesome as blood poured from Shen Lang's wounds. The guards stood in stunned silence while Tian Heng, reclining in a bath of Shen Lang's blood, erupted into manic laughter. Yet it was all just a daydream. Shen Lang still stood before him, pressing him about accepting new terms. Tian Heng couldn't bear to see his sons harmed. Ultimately, he relented, agreeing to break the legs of his two sons. But Shen Lang demanded more. He insisted the two sons be expelled from the gang, with Tian Heng forbidden from aiding them in any way. Additionally, Shen Lang vowed to return to the gambling dens to bankrupt them once the two sons had fully recovered. In the end, Tian Heng acquiesced to all of Shen Lang's demands. Shortly after, a crowd gathered in the central plaza upon witnessing 13 and 19 being disciplined by their adoptive father. When someone hushed the chattering crowd, Tian Heng emerged. He expressed his affection for the two as his sons, but conveyed his disappointment that they had provoked the ire of Shen Lang. He pretended to be upset with them for their defiance and for offending Shen Lang. Then he retrieved a large stick from his associates. He pleaded with 13 not to be angry with him, but 13 remained indifferent. This infuriated Tian Heng, who brandished the large stick menacingly. The plaza was filled with the cracking sound of 13's legs as they gave way. 13 clenched his teeth and knelt down, his pain evident to everyone present. The sight of Tian Heng inflicting such harm on his own cherished son left the onlookers in shock. Meanwhile, 16 shuddered at the sight of his injured brother. He mustered the courage to question Tian Heng's actions, asking if he was truly serious. However, Tian Heng remained silent, wielding a massive stick ominously. Despite 16's declaration of loyalty, Tian Heng silenced him with a stern command and proceeded to break his legs as well. 16 collapsed to the ground, enduring the relentless strikes until he fell unconscious. Witnessing the brutality unfold, the spectators in the plaza couldn't fathom how Tian Heng could be so merciless towards his own sons who had been fiercely loyal to him. This horrifying event sparked doubt among Tian Heng's remaining adopted sons, fearing they might be his next targets. Consequently, Tian Heng's once solid reputation crumbled, and the support for his gang began to dwindle. Turning to Shen Lang, Tian Heng inquired if he was satisfied with the outcome. However, Shen Lang expressed his dissatisfaction, reminding Tian Heng of their conversation the previous day. Pondering the cost of his actions, Tian Heng vowed to seek revenge someday. Shen Lang urged him to leave, citing the lateness of the hour, but Tian Heng remained wary of any further inquiries. Despite Shen Lang's attempts to refresh his memory regarding their agreement, Tian Heng remained guarded. He had asked Tian Heng about the gold coins he owed him and told him to hurry. Tian Heng got mad since he had already lost a lot to the gamblers. Shen Lang then said he was being merciful and proposed a deal for Tian Heng. He asked for 2,000 gold coins upfront and suggested writing a contract for the remaining 17,000. Tian Heng got even angrier since 2,000 was the most his gambling house could bring out. Shen Lang told Tian Heng to hurry up and settle things, or he would keep returning to the gambling house. He mentioned his wife was waiting with dinner. Tian Heng snapped and raised the huge stick he was holding. He swung it hard, cursing Shen Lang and wishing him dead, smashing his skull so hard. However, it was just another daydream. Suddenly, an employee approached with a note, instructing Tian Heng to hand over the money. Since the money was dirty, coming from the gambling house, the Earl would be annoyed with Shen Lang. Tian Heng wondered if it was an order from the Zhang family. He looked around and noticed someone watching him. They gave him a signal, and Tian Heng agreed to Shen Lang's conditions. He ordered his men to bring out the requested 2,000 gold coins. After a while, 2 chests full of money were brought out, and Tian Heng asked if Shen Lang was satisfied. Checking the contract, Shen Lang said everything looked fine. Tian Heng smiled, planning not to give out the remaining money. Shen Lang then opened the chest, and everyone was amazed to see the shining gold coins. Shen Lang said he was satisfied with the money and contract, but he couldn't keep the money. He said that many lives were affected by Tian Heng's gambling houses and questioned if he could bear that fact. Shen Lang then stated that he hadn't come to the gambling house to make money, but to seek justice for the thousands of families harmed. When the public heard his speech, they started cheering for him. Shen Lang said his father-in-law had taught him to love people like family, and he said the money he won wasn't for himself, but for the people. Everyone's eyes widened as they realized what Shen Lang was about to say next. Shen Lang then scattered the gold coins as he announced that he would give them all to the people. Shocked, everyone watched as the gold coins flew around. They panicked, scrambling to pick up the precious coins, even pushing each other in their haste. Tian Heng's eyes bulged slightly as he couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. He couldn't believe that Shen Lang had manipulated him into breaking his son's legs and had won over the people with his money. His blood pressure rose as he fully understood that he had been deceived. Coughing up blood, he declared that he would be Shen Lang's enemy from that moment on. Despite the people around him cheering for Shen Lang and the Earl, he expressed his anger. From the nearby building, the monitor from earlier couldn't believe how deceptive Shen Lang had been. He smiled and informed the city lord that his words had been unclear, as joy could swiftly transform into sadness. The city lord smiled back and simply agreed. As the crowd swarmed around the gold coins, he mentioned they wouldn't be held responsible for any stampede accidents. The city lord agreed. He then wondered if Shen Lang would also get hurt in the process, which seemed likely. With a smile, the city lord said the blame would fall on the Earl's mansion if a stampede occurred and hundreds of people died because of Shen Lang's actions. The man felt shocked by the city lord's evil nature. Despite knowing that hundreds of his people might die, the city lord remained calm. However, they both shared the same goal, and the man stopped caring. They chuckled together, knowing that Shen Lang would mess up. Outside, the crowd cheered for Shen Lang, wishing him a long and happy life. Unbeknownst to them, some men were blending in with the crowd. Acting on Zhang Jin's orders, these men incited a brawl to sow chaos. As a result, people would flock to Shen Lang's side, leading to a riot where blame would be pinned on the Earl's mansion. Zhang Jin's accomplices seamlessly mingled with the crowd, but Shen Lang spotted them. He remembered seeing them at the wedding and couldn't believe Tian Heng had a backup plan. His exceptional memory helped him recall their faces. Shen Lang had clapped his hands to get everyone's attention. As a result, the crowd fell silent and focused on him. He displayed the empty chest, stating that the gold had already been given out. At that moment, Zhang Jin's followers began demanding additional hidden funds. Shen Lang understood their intentions. He presented the contract and declared that Tian Heng still owed him 17,000 gold coins. insisting he wouldn't accept even a single copper coin from it. This announcement sparked excitement among the onlookers as they realized there was more money involved. He had exclaimed that Tian Heng's money originally came from the people's pockets. He decided to send the contract to the city lord so the money could be recovered and distributed to the people. He said he didn't want the money and it should be given to the poor families instead. Everyone then cheered for Shen Lang and the Earl again. Before leaving, he exclaimed that the city lord would surely help the people and entered the building. The city lord was surprised and got up from his seat. He tried to excuse himself to escape, but Shen Lang met him. Shen Lang grabbed him and brought him over to the nearby window. He showed the city lord to the people, and they all cheered for him. Shen Lang could see the men in disguise were not doing anything since they were scared of the city lord. Shen Lang then handed the contract over to the city lord and hoped that he could help the people. He further claimed that he was weak enough to get the rest of the money, and he was sure that the city lord could take back the money of the people from Tian Heng. The city lord was shocked by the sudden responsibility he received. The city lord had known from the start that the contract wouldn't hold weight, but now that he was tangled up in it, the reality of having to repay the money hit him hard. It was becoming evident just how deceitful Shen Lang truly was. Tian Heng's money was supposed to be theirs all along, and now that it was public knowledge, the city lord felt compelled to accept it to avoid trouble. Reluctantly, he conceded, putting on a fake smile to mask his frustration. Shen Lang expressed gratitude to the city lord, assuring everyone that he would look after them. He painted a picture of the city lord as a leader devoted to his people, then made his exit. The crowd erupted in cheers for Shen Lang and his family. Meanwhile, he slipped out the back with his guards. Within moments, curious onlookers flooded in to see the city lord, leaving Zhang Jin incredulous at Shen Lang's audacious move. At the Earl's mansion, the Earl inquired about Shen Lang's whereabouts. Jin Zhang confirmed that Shen Lang had not yet returned. The Earl became angry, questioning his decision to allow Shen Lang to leave. His wife reassured him, saying it's common for young people to stay out late. However, the Earl worried that Shen Lang might be at odds with Tian Heng, who had the support of the city lord and the Zhang family. He feared for Shen Lang's safety, but also fretted that he might fall into trouble due to manipulation by others. His wife advised him not to fret too much, as Tian Heng and the others wouldn't escalate things too far. The Earl hoped this was true. He then resolved to let Shen Lang face some consequences so he could learn from his mistakes. Their conversation was interrupted when a servant suddenly rushed in. The Earl had asked if something had happened to Shen Lang. The messenger then said it was the other way around, claiming that Shen Lang had made Tian Heng broke, causing him to vomit blood and publicly break his own son's legs. The Earl and his wife were shocked to hear this and wondered how Shen Lang managed to do that despite powerful people supporting Tian Heng. The Earl then asked the messenger to provide further details. In his office, Earl Xuanwu learned about Shen Lang's brave actions but became angry upon hearing that Shen Lang had gambled. He felt both happy and upset that Shen Lang had gambled and won all the money in the gambling house. However, they were more surprised to learn that Shen Lang had given the money to the poor and had even thwarted the city lord's harmful plans with Zhang Jin. The Earl's wife cried upon realizing that Shen Lang had done his best to uphold the family's reputation. The report had concluded. The Earl had found Shen Lang to be cunning, but his wife admired Shen Lang's character, appreciating his filial nature. The Earl was impressed by the downfall of the city lord and Zhang Jin, yet he couldn't shake off the suspicion that the city lord had plotted against his family, making him worry about the fate of the Xuanwu family. Though pleased that Shen Lang emerged victorious, he also recognized the risks involved. Fueled by anger, he resolved to suppress Shen Lang's audacity. His wife, too, proposed helping to re-educate Shen Lang. Shortly after, Shen Lang returned home discreetly, aware of his father-in-law's traditional views. Anticipating a scolding for his actions, he decided to seek refuge in Yilan for a while. However, upon opening the door, he was met with his father-in-law's ominous smile, sending shivers down his spine at the sight of the intimidating expression. Shen Lang swiftly apologized with a perfect 90-degree bow. The Earl exclaimed how brave Shen Lang had been to defy Tian Heng by gambling. He noted that in the centuries of their family history, no one had ever stepped foot in a gambling house. Shen Lang continued to apologize for his actions. Angered, the Earl asked if Shen Lang realized the gravity of what he had done. Shen Lang vowed not to return to the gambling house and implored the Earl to calm down. He promised to heed and uphold any teachings given to him in the future. The Earl's wife then stepped in and reminded him that Shen Lang was still young and had good intentions from the start. The Earl couldn't believe his wife had sided with Shen Lang so easily. He expressed his desire to teach Shen Lang a lesson. The wife then joined in scolding Shen Lang, and Shen Lang apologized again. She then asked if Shen Lang was hungry and invited him to dinner. The Earl had been shocked when she had let Shen Lang off so easily, especially since she had been so harsh on her own son. Dissatisfied with Shen Lang's escape, he grabbed him and declared that Shen Lang wouldn't be allowed to leave. He could move around the mansion, but leaving was out of the question. However, Shen Lang remained confident that such restrictions wouldn't hold him back. He then inquired about the conditions. The Earl instructed him to stay in the mansion and focus on improving both his physical and mental well-being. Shen Lang would only be permitted to leave when the Earl deemed it appropriate. This news left Shen Lang feeling hopeless, as he wondered what had become of his once kind father-in-law. The Earl had only wanted Shen Lang to stay out of the spotlight for his own good. He worried that Tian Heng and his gang might retaliate against his son-in-law, so he ordered all the men to keep a close watch on Shen Lang, making sure he didn't venture out. Despite successfully completing his mission that day, Shen Lang felt a sense of loss being cooped up. Seeing Shen Lang's distress, the Earl realized something was amiss. He and his wife marched to their useless son's room and gave him a good beating and whipping. It was because he couldn't be a good son like their son-in-law. Later, Shen Lang went to the front yard and found his wife Mulan. With a smile, she invited him to dinner. Shen Lang couldn't help but notice Mulan wearing her armor and asked about it. She explained she was prepared to fight in case anything happened to him in the city. Shen Lang's heart raced. He offered to help her remove the armor, and Mulan gladly accepted. So Shen Lang began taking off each piece one by one. After the armor had been removed, Shen Lang praised Mulan for her patience and concern while waiting for him. She expressed her ongoing worry for his safety despite his recent victory. Suddenly, Shen Lang embraced her, but Mulan swiftly withdrew, reminding him that he hadn't asked for permission. She firmly instructed him not to repeat the action. 30 seconds later, Shen Lang made another attempt, only to be halted once more by Mulan's warning that she would take action if he persisted. Blushing, she urged him to begin eating dinner. Following the meal, Mulan donned her armor again, prompting Shen Lang to inquire about her destination. She revealed her intention to embark on a night patrol, and as she departed, she requested that her husband refrain from causing any trouble. The imperial exam wasn't just about math. Noble families valued it for its practicality and ability to sharpen one's thinking skills. Moments ago, the beaten son found himself confined to his room, reluctantly tackling math lessons. His tutor, Wen Zhao, renowned as the city's top math expert, not only taught the Mu siblings but also managed the finances of the Earl's estate for over 2 decades. After Mukong checked his score, he felt happy about the improvement, having answered 2 out of 10 questions correctly. He wondered why he kept getting beaten without a clear reason. This made him start wondering if he had been adopted. Wen Zhao then claimed Mukong was hit because of Shen Lang. Mukong asked why. Wen Zhao explained that days ago, Mukong was hit because Mulan married the flirtatious Shen Lang. However, this time, it was because Shen Lang damaged the family's reputation by going to a gambling house. Since Shen Lang was still new to the family, it was not good to beat him up, and the Mu couple vented their anger on Mukong instead. Mukong then held grudge towards Shen Lang, and this looked like Wen Zhao's plan to begin with. The assistant then claimed that he saw Bing crying somewhere in the mansion. This made Mukong assume that Shen Lang was at fault. He then walked out of the room in frustration to get his revenge on Shen Lang. However, he quickly returned and wondered how strong Shen Lang's martial arts was. Wen Zhao claimed Shen Lang was weak as he doesn't know any martial arts. Mukong then confidently went out to find and fight Shen Lang. Soon after, Shen Lang was warned that Mukong was coming to beat him up with some men. He wondered why a weak kid was looking to beat him up. Bing told him to run away. However, Shen Lang reassured her that he would deal with Mukong. Bing kept insisting that Shen Lang would be in trouble, but Shen Lang claimed he knew what to do. Bing then walked out of the room, claiming that she doesn't care about him anymore. After a while, Mukong arrived with some men. He complained about Shen Lang bullying Bing, who was already like a sister to him. However, there was no response from Shen Lang's room. Mukong then forcefully opened the door and found Shen Lang writing on the wall. Mukong ordered him to get down from the ladder. Shen Lang said he was writing names. Confused, Mukong asked why. With a menacing expression, Shen Lang said they were the names of his enemies he planned to seek revenge on. He marked 2 names with huge red crosses and climbed down. Mukong asked what the crosses meant, and Shen Lang explained they were the names he had just avenged. He said he would always remember those names like he remembered meals. Mukong wondered if those people had murdered Shen Lang's parents. Shen Lang explained how one of them had threatened him before and now had shattered legs. He said he also hated someone whose limbs were all crushed. Mukong freaked out upon hearing this and realized he might also be on Shen Lang's revenge list if he angered him. Shen Lang mentioned there were more spaces on the wall to add the names of his future enemies. Mukong started questioning why someone would be so vengeful. With a bright smile, Shen Lang asked why Mukong had come. Mukong quickly made up an excuse, saying he was just passing by. Shen Lang had been wondering who was shouting threats of hitting someone, while Mukong was left pondering the same question. Feeling scared, he hastily fled the scene with his servants. Shen Lang was taken aback by Mukong's cowardly behavior. Suddenly, a voice commanded them to halt. Nervously, Mukong questioned if Shen Lang had recognized him as the one shouting. To his relief, it turned out to be the Earl's wife. She was incredulous that Mukong had intended to confront Shen Lang and decided to reprimand him instead. Mukong found himself being scolded and his ear pulled as his mother swiftly arrived on the scene. The Earl's wife revealed that Bing had informed her of Mukong's intentions. She also praised Shen Lang for defending their family. Mukong couldn't believe it when Bing sold him out so easily. He started to wonder what wrongs he might have committed in a past life to deserve such a beating. Then Shen Lang stepped in, but the Earl's wife insisted on dealing with Mukong herself. Shen Lang said they were just talking, not fighting. The Earl's wife questioned if that was true, and Shen Lang confirmed it. She then slapped Mukong and praised Shen Lang for being such a good brother-in-law. She warned Shen Lang not to cover for Mukong, as she would discipline him to teach him respect. Mukong begged for forgiveness just as his mother's whip appeared out of nowhere. Shen Lang stepped in and suggested that being angry wasn't good for her health. He asked for some time alone with Mukong. The Earl's wife agreed and told Shen Lang he had the authority to discipline Mukong, even to hit him if necessary. Shen Lang felt sorry for Mukong lately. In Shen Lang's room, Mukong expressed his gratitude to his brother-in-law and pledged his loyalty. Shen Lang then inquired about who encouraged Mukong to come. Mukong became flustered and refused to reveal the name, asserting his righteousness. Shen Lang sighed and acquiesced. He recognized Mukong's lack of intelligence but acknowledged that his loyalty could prove useful in the future. Since Mukong wouldn't confess, Shen Lang decided to conduct his own investigation later. After dismissing Mukong, Shen Lang ensured that his door was securely locked as he prepared for something. He retrieved some moldy rye and painstakingly scraped off the ergot fungi. If anyone else had witnessed his actions, they would have found it peculiar. However, Shen Lang had a plan in mind. The following morning, while Shen Lang was washing his face, he noticed Bing treating him better than usual. Curious, he decided to ask her why white tigers were considered rare and precious. Bing responded that it was because tigers were typically yellow. Shen Lang disagreed but didn't press further, retreating slowly behind the door. He found Bing's cluelessness endearing. Later, Bing decided to share Shen Lang's question with Mulan. Shen Lang anticipated trouble with his wife, assuming she might not grasp the meaning. After breakfast, Shen Lang received a new task from the Earl. He had been told to begin studying. Shen Lang had already picked up Fu Witch before, so this time he decided to go along with it for a few days. He informed Jin Zhang that he would hit the books. Simultaneously, he planned to uncover who was behind the attempt to kick him out of the mansion. Within the Earl's mansion, there was a school with over 100 students. In Mukong's class, they were all around the same age, and everyone was curious about the new student. Shen Lang noticed that Mulan had quite a few admirers, but he also sensed that many of them felt hostile toward him. In his mind, he encouraged them to keep being jealous. Little did he know, some students had already made plans against him. 3 students then confronted Shen Lang with menacing looks. Shen Lang couldn't believe they were so jealous that they dared to lay their hands on him. Suddenly, Mukong appeared and told everyone to give his brother-in-law respect. The students then backed off, and Shen Lang realized how powerful Mukong was in the school. Mukong then told Shen Lang to sit beside him during class. Soon after, the class started, and the instructor informed them that they would be studying the Book of Changes. The old master's name was Lin. He claimed the book contained everything from heaven to earth, and one could find themselves transformed after reading it. He then noticed there was a new face in class. Shen Lang was impressed that the old man noticed him despite his attempt to hide. Old man Lin then remarked that it was a pity for a man to have such a pretty face. He then exclaimed that he recognized Shen Lang as the student who had been in Hanzhou Town School for 10 years and hadn't managed to graduate. Shen Lang could see that he was being provoked. The old man began to wonder if Shen Lang knew about the Book of Changes. Shen Lang claimed he had only heard a few things. Then the old man tested him with a complex passage. Surprisingly, Shen Lang quickly and accurately answered. Lin asked another question, and Shen Lang promptly provided the correct response. This astonished the old man, who confirmed that all of Shen Lang's answers were right. The rest of the class was shocked to see Shen Lang, whom they considered to be worthless, suddenly excelling. Old man Lin continued to ask questions, and Shen Lang confidently answered each one correctly. Lin was amazed, recognizing a natural talent in Shen Lang. He decided to inform the Earl about Shen Lang, so that he wouldn't remain undiscovered talent. In the next class, arithmetic was on the agenda, with Wen Zhao taking the lead as the instructor. Upon entering the classroom, Shen Lang immediately sensed Wen Zhao's hostile gaze directed at him, which didn't escape the notice of our protagonist, the MC. Shen Lang dismissed the notion that the old man's animosity stemmed from his marriage to Mulan. Instead, he pondered when he had crossed paths with Wen Zhao and decided to take a step back and observe for a while. Wen Zhao then began his lesson, but Shen Lang found material to be too basic, despite the instructor's reputation as the best. Being a former Earthling, Shen Lang found the problems to be at an elementary level, which left him unchallenged. At the end of the day, the dull class had caused Shen Lang to drift off to sleep. Wen Zhao then spotted him and reprimanded him, making him do push-ups as punishment for dozing off in class. Shen Lang noticed he was the only one being singled out and began to wonder if Wen Zhao had some connection to his adversaries. Wen Zhao then seized Shen Lang, intending to discipline him for not paying attention in class. Shen Lang retorted that he already knew the subject matter Wen Zhao was discussing. This angered Wen Zhao, who laughed hysterically. As a consequence for speaking out, Wen Zhao decided to impose additional penalties on Shen Lang. Shen Lang, however, defiantly refused to comply and apologized, refusing to carry out any of the punishments. Everyone was taken aback to witness someone challenging a teacher. Wen Zhao became furious and warned Shen Lang to await further consequences from the headmaster for disrupting his class. He angrily snapped his fan in half and stormed out, his face almost bursting with rage. Mukong had claimed that Shen Lang found himself in a tough spot after stirring trouble with Wen Zhao. Shen Lang then pondered whether Wen Zhao had goaded him into the confrontation. Though Yukong tried to pretend he didn't know anything, his facial expressions betrayed him. Shen Lang then inquired about Wen Zhao's connection to his adversaries. Mukong clarified that Wen Zhao was both Wang Lian's uncle and a distant relative of the Earl's wife. Finally, Shen Lang put the pieces together. Wen Zhao was upset because his nephew couldn't marry into the Earl's family, and Shen Lang had disrupted their plans by appearing out of nowhere. Shen Lang criticized Wen Zhao for his narrow-minded retaliation. But to Mukong, it seemed Shen Lang was the one being narrow-minded. Wen Zhao approached the Earl and requested him to discipline Shen Lang for his actions. After some time, noticing that the teachers were losing control of the class, Mukong anticipated that Shen Lang would face physical punishment, as was often the case. Soon, Wen Zhao arrived with the Earl and accused Shen Lang of disrespecting his elders. He argued that Shen Lang's behavior could negatively influence his classmates and undermine the reputation of the Earl's academy. The Earl then urged Shen Lang to be honest about the situation. Shen Lang had exclaimed that Wen Zhao was a respected arithmetic teacher. However, Shen Lang asserted that he already knew the simple lessons Wen Zhao taught and that pretending to listen was a waste of time. Wen Zhao couldn't believe his lessons were considered simple. He called Shen Lang shameless for failing to graduate despite studying for 10 years. He proposed asking Shen Lang 10 questions, and if he answered at least 3 correctly, he would apologize. However, Wen Zhao had no intention of apologizing at all. Shen Lang wondered if it was sufficient to answer just 3 questions correctly, and Wen Zhao quickly confirmed, assuming Shen Lang was unintelligent. The Earl suddenly became worried for Shen Lang and tried to intervene. Shen Lang pondered what would happen if he answered everything correctly. Wen Zhao exclaimed that would be impossible since Shen Lang lacked prior knowledge of arithmetic. He threatened to whip Shen Lang 100 times if he couldn't answer his questions. Knowing that most elders couldn't even count and many people in the city were ignorant of arithmetic, Wen Zhao was eager to whip Shen Lang. Shen Lang accepted the challenge and asked his classmates to be witnesses. Old Man Lin had found the situation intriguing and offered to testify. The Earl was furious that Shen Lang seemed excited about the bet. Wen Zhao then began crafting the questions, ensuring they were challenging, almost like he was that kid from a well-known meme. After 30 minutes of intense writing, he handed the test paper to Shen Lang, granting him just an hour to answer all the questions. Shen Lang's eyes widened as he glanced at the paper, but he managed to muster a reassuring smile. Wen Zhao urged him to hurry, reminding him of the time constraint. Despite the questions not being elementary level, Shen Lang, being a college graduate, found them manageable. He swiftly breezed through the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth questions. However, upon reaching the final question, he found it particularly intriguing. While it might have stumped the average person, Shen Lang, equipped with knowledge from the 21st century, found it relatively easy to solve. At that moment, he realized it was game over for Wen Zhao. Seeing Shen Lang smiling like an idiot, Wen Zhao assumed that the MC had already given up on the 10th question. He claimed it was the most difficult question, one that even he, the best in arithmetic, had taken 16 years to solve. He was excited to punish Shen Lang. Meanwhile, the Earl noticed how quickly Shen Lang was writing. He assumed Shen Lang was just fooling around and ordered his servant to call over his wife. It would be strange for him to punish another man, and a woman would have no problem. Suddenly, Shen Lang stood up, claiming that he was finished. The Earl was worried that his wife would be late to administer the punishment. Wen Zhao accepted the paper, confident that he had won. He then began checking the answers and was shocked to see that Shen Lang had answered the first question correctly. The correct answers continued up to the 6th question, and Wen Zhao became increasingly frustrated. He wondered what was happening, as not many people could do arithmetic at all. Even he, a teacher, would take a long time to solve them if it was his first time seeing the questions. But for Shen Lang, it took only a moment. Shen Lang then asked him if he had answered correctly. Wen Zhao was surprised, but he was certain that Shen Lang would fail on the last question. However, Shen Lang answered it correctly, and Wen Zhao was deeply shocked. Shen Lang told him not to be slow in correcting the answers. Wen Zhao's eyes seemed to bulge as he checked everything. He couldn't believe the question he had spent 10 years answering was only a moment for Shen Lang. Wen Zhao then burst into laughter and tore Shen Lang's answer sheet in half. He threw it to the ground and stomped on it, declaring everything was wrong. His actions made Shen Lang chuckle, and revealed that he had made another copy of his answers since he had the time to do so. He remembered that Old Man Lin also knew arithmetic and asked him to check his answers. Wen Zhao tried to intervene, but the Earl stepped in to stop him. Lin was concerned because it had been a while since he had practiced arithmetic. Wen Zhao became more anxious, knowing that Lin could understand his questions. Lin was impressed to see that Shen Lang answered the first set of questions correctly without any issues. However, his eyes widened as he reached the 10th question, and wondered if Shen Lang had truly written the answer. Shen Lang began to wonder if something was wrong. Lin quickly and respectfully congratulated Shen Lang for becoming a new arithmetic genius. Surprised, the Earl asked Lin how many questions Shen Lang had answered correctly. Lin affirmed that everything was correct and Shen Lang's skills far exceeded the scope of those 10 questions. Lin apologized for not recognizing Shen Lang earlier. Shen Lang then smiled and claimed that he was self-taught, asserting he was a genius. For some reason, the Earl and his classmates suddenly felt the urge to confront him. Shen Lang then noticed Wen Zhao sneaking out of the classroom. He had reminded him about his apology if he answered at least 5 correctly. Wen Zhao then called him shameless for asking a teacher to apologize to a student. The Earl then intervened and reminded him about setting examples. The Earl's wife then arrived and reminded everyone that they should bear consequences of their actions. Wen Zhao then started sweating as his only relative in the mansion had also spoken up. It was like Wen Zhao was being slapped in public. Despite the shame he felt, Wen Zhao apologized for acting aggressively but still blamed Shen Lang for everything. Mu Kong and the others found the old man hilarious for apologizing like a dog. Shen Lang just smirked and hoped Wen Zhao had apologized earlier without shaming himself. Wen Zhao swore to be Shen Lang's enemy for life and ran out of the room. His classmates then cheered for Shen Lang. However, he still had another problem to tackle: his father-in-law. The Earl instructed him to hold out his hand in the open. Shen Lang couldn't believe he was still being punished despite winning. The Earl then slapped his palm hard and claimed it was for being too proud and arrogant. His mother-in-law was just on the side, smiling proudly. That night, Wen Zhao went somewhere while incognito. He brought something like a box and knocked on someone's gate. A surly-looking man opened the gate, his expression sour. Wen Zhao approached, explaining that he had come to show gratitude to Zhang Jin for the past 6 months by offering filial piety. The man glanced around, cautioning Wen Zhao to avoid mentioning his master's name aloud. He then inquired if Wen Zhao had any additional useful items for Zhang Jin. Wen Zhao produced a scroll containing governmental information, excluding financial details as he still needed to locate the secret vault. The man urged him to act swiftly if he wished for his son to succeed in a martial arts exam. With that, the gate was promptly closed, leaving Wen Zhao standing outside. Later in his home, he found Tianheng sitting imposingly in the living room. Tianheng wondered if Wen Zhao also wanted to oust Shen Lang. Wen Zhao laughed and pondered how Shen Lang could perish when the Earl already favored him as his future son-in-law. Tianheng then brought up the matter of succession to the Earl's position and criticized Mukong's incompetence. He speculated whether the family name might eventually change from Jin to Shen. His goal was to fuel Shen Lang's ambition by spreading rumors of Mukong's ineptitude and promoting Shen Lang as the rightful successor to the family. If this tactic failed, they could tarnish the reputation of the Earl and his wife instead. Wen Zhao doubted the effectiveness of Tianheng's plan. However, Tianheng was confident that their combined internal and external pressure would make the Earl suspicious and lead him to remove Shen Lang on his own. He vowed to use his ultimate strategy to eliminate Shen Lang. Tianheng then sought Wen Zhao's cooperation, which Wen Zhao readily agreed to. He swore to mutilate Shen Lang's body to ensure he could never be reborn. Meanwhile, in the quarters of the Earl and his wife, Shen Lang had a pressing matter to discuss. He approached them, feeling the weight of his concerns. The Earl came out visibly upset that his sweet time with his wife was interrupted, and inquired if the matter could wait until the next day. His wife, curious about the commotion, joined them. Shen Lang then explained that he had neglected his duties, leaving their financial affairs in disarray. He proposed taking charge of the accounts temporarily to rectify the situation. The Earl's frustration intensified upon hearing this report. His wife, sensing the tension, ushered Shen Lang into the room. Once inside, Shen Lang elaborated on his suspicion that Wen Zhao had been siphoning funds. The Earl dismissed the accusation, citing Wen Zhao's long-standing loyalty. Shen Lang countered by pointing out the vast gap between Wen Zhao's modest salary and his extravagant lifestyle, including properties in different cities. The Earl cautioned Shen Lang against hastily judging others, likening it to fish preferring murky waters over clear streams. Shen Lang couldn't shake his concern that Wen Zhao's actions surpassed his worst fears. The Earl's wife then asked if Shen Lang had any evidence. Shen Lang placed 2 account books on the table and asserted they were from Wen Zhao, revealing significant corruption. The Earl inquired about the source of the books. Shen Lang explained he had Mukong request them from the cashier. The couple recalled their son's lack of intelligence. The Earl's wife urged him to examine the accounts, emphasizing her connection to the Jin family and her unwillingness to tolerate even her relatives' wrongdoing. Having known Wen Zhao for a lifetime, the Earl pondered whether he was being portrayed as a villain. Eventually, the Earl agreed to allow Shen Lang to inspect the accounts under 3 conditions. Initially, Shen Lang had to stick with Old Man Lin at all times. Secondly, any discoveries had to be reported to him right away. Lastly, he had to halt immediately upon Wen Zhao's return. Shen Lang accepted the terms, but he still thought his father-in-law was too kind and lenient. Consequently, he resolved to embrace the role of the lone villain and exited the room. The Earl couldn't fathom Shen Lang's extreme thirst for revenge. His wife reminded him that Mulan was quite the opposite, being forgiving, and if Shen Lang shared the same trait, their family might suffer. As it grew late, the couple decided to retire to bed. In the accounting department, Shen Lang felt a jolt of surprise as he laid eyes on the towering stacks of accounting books. Master Lin, though battling sleepiness, also arrived. He mentioned that these books contained records of the mansion spanning over 2 decades, estimating it would take a month to comb through them all. But Shen Lang had just 1 night and warned that their presence was known to someone loyal to Wen Zhao who could snitch on them. Shen Lang then sought Lin's assistance. The old man, recalling a past investigation that ended tragically with an unknown illness, questioned Shen Lang's seriousness. Shen Lang reassured him, citing their safety if their lives mattered to Wen Zhao's allies. Despite the frustrating deadline and the daunting task ahead, Shen Lang found solace in having Master Lin's expertise. Lin, in turn, willingly offered his help. As expected by Master Lin, they had only a night before Wen Zhao's supporters planned to inform them. They couldn't risk burning the room with the accounting records and Shen Lang inside, risking his reprimand upon Wen Zhao's return in the morning. However, Shen Lang possessed extraordinary abilities. While others might take ages to decipher the accounting books, his eyes and brain could swiftly process them with a mere glance. Even Shen Lang himself was taken aback by his own capabilities. Morning had come, and a servant dashed through the mansion, searching urgently for someone. Wen Zhao soon arrived, curious about the commotion. The servant reported that Shen Lang had been examining his accounting books. This news startled Wen Zhao, and he spread it off in disbelief. He couldn't fathom that Shen Lang would dare to do such a thing, and vowed to confront him. Despite his furious thoughts, Wen Zhao soon found himself kneeling before the Earl, pleading for trust. Perplexed, the Earl inquired about the situation. Wen Zhao then explained that Shen Lang had scrutinized the accounting books he had diligently maintained for over 20 years. He portrayed himself as a humble servant, incapable of opposing the family's son-in-law. With feigned tears, Wen Zhao rushed outside, declaring his desire for death. However, Jin Zhang intervened, restraining Wen Zhao with his strong arms and forcing him to the ground. Overwhelmed, Wen Zhao burst into tears, proclaiming his lifelong dedication to the mansion. He implored the Earl to end his life if he doubted his loyalty. The Earl used to claim he understood his loyalty to the mansion. He then instructed Jin Zhang to summon Shen Lang and cease the scrutiny of the accounting books. Wen Zhao believed he could outsmart Shen Lang by leveraging the Earl's leniency towards his subordinates. He then devised a further plan and confided in the Earl. When the Earl inquired about the matter, Wen Zhao revealed slanderous rumors circulating about Shen Lang, portraying him as deceptive despite his outward appearance of simplicity and weakness. Wen Zhao expressed concern that Shen Lang might harbor ambitions following his marriage to Mulan. The Earl pondered the validity of these rumors, only seeing Shen Lang as charming, eloquent, attractive, and mischievous. While acknowledging Shen Lang's flaws, the Earl dismissed the notion of ambition. He recognized Shen Lang's forgiving nature, but refused to accept Wen Zhao's accusations. As Wen Zhao persisted in spreading baseless rumors about Shen Lang, Jin Zhang returned with Shen Lang. Shen Lang then greeted his father-in-law. Wen Zhao began to label Shen Lang as vengeful and narrow-minded. Shen Lang simply chuckled, expressing surprise at Wen Zhao's extensive embezzlement. Wen Zhao knew Shen Lang was bluffing, as it was impossible to review everything in one night. He insulted Shen Lang for accusing him of corruption, to which Shen Lang mentioned the sum of 30,000, stunning Wen Zhao with his knowledge.